Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube NFL prediction segment, I'm going to be giving you my picks and analysis for the games of the Week 7 2019 NFL season. Now, first game, I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs on the road against the Denver Broncos. Kansas City has dominated this series in recent time. They've won 7 consecutive against Denver. Kansas City is one of the highest scoring offenses in the NFL. They have not looked that impressive the last couple games. I know Patrick Mahomes is not 100%. The thing about it is Denver could actually make this a lot more competitive than people think. Denver's number 4 in total defense. I understand they got some swagger win the last 2 games. Their defense has really looked really great in those last 2 games as well. And the thing about this is, though, I think Kansas City. This is critical. This game, they don't want to lose 3 in a row at this point. I think Patrick Mahomes and company are going to bounce back and win this one. It'll be a tough battle, I believe, but going to Denver on the road. Short rest. Denver, it's advantageous for Denver. It'll be close, but I like Kansas City in a tight one. Next game. I'm going to take the LA Rams on the road to defeat the Atlanta Falcons reluctantly. We'll see what's going to status. I'm not sure of Todd Gurley for the Rams. The Rams still, despite not looking very good in the last 2 or 3 games, they're still number 10 in total offense. They're number 1 in tackles in the NFL, and which could actually might not be such a good thing, because if they don't get their act together in this game, they're going to be doing a lot of tackling against Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. Atlanta showed some signs of life last week. They did everything but beat Arizona at Arizona. I would not be shocked if they do emerge victorious in this game. They do have a lethal weapons in Julio Jones and Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is one of the top passers in the NFL as far as yards, but they just can't seem to get the victories that they need. So this is going to be, this is a revived Atlanta team on offense. It'll be tough. I'm going to take the Rams in a close one on the road. Now, the next game, this one doesn't need an overabundance of analysis. I'm going to take Buffalo at home to defeat the Miami Dolphins. Buffalo's defense has been sterling, to say the least. They've allowed 14 points per game. And if you go back to last season, Buffalo they have been playing very well since the latter part of last season until now. They've won 8 of their last 12 regular season games. And they've also won 3 of the last 4 games that they played against the Dolphins. The Dolphins are averaging only about 8 points per game right now. They're allowing all kinds of points. They're minus 138 in point differential and minus 9 in turnover differential. This is going to be critical. The Dolphins also are a very lamentable road team. Just 1-8 on the road since last season. And, this turnover differential can really be critical. Minus 9 turnover differential. Again, the propensity to turn the ball over and having to go on the road against a very tenacious Buffalo defense does not look good. I like Buffalo at home. Next game. I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars to win on the road against the Bengals. This is actually could be bode for a low-scoring game, but I still like the Jags in a tight one. This is the Cincinnati Bengals have lost a number of consecutive games dating back to last season. They're dead last in rushing yards per game, and they're allowing 184.5 rushing yards per game, which is dead last. Running back Leonard Fournette could have a very good game. I think they could dominate time of possession and win it. But the Jacksonville defense just has one takeaway this season. It may improve, and maybe they'll get at least 1, if not 2, in this game. That might be all they need to defeat the Bengals. And Bengals also have allowed 9 rushing touchdowns. It does not bode well for them. I like Jacksonville and their running game to get this one done on the road. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Detroit Lions at home to defeat the Minnesota Vikings. Detroit has lost three consecutive against the Vikings. It could favor the Dolphins, but I think Detroit's getting tired of losing to the Vikings. I know Detroit has 2 losses this season, but they were just by 5 points combined. They lost a game which some see as controversial to Green Bay last week, and they lost a very tight game to Kansas City earlier. Those are the 2 losses they have. They were by a combined 5 points. Now, Minnesota, speaking of lethal combinations, Kirk Cousins and Stephon Diggs seem to have their good rapport going with their quarterback to receiver combo. And Minnesota, though, just like 4-6 on the road since last season. But their offense is getting it together. They have put their offense the last 2 games has looked very good, like 68 points combined the last 2 games. Stephon Diggs had 167 yards receiving last week. I think it's going to be Detroit. I like that the secondary has not really been that great this season. They're number 28 in pass defense. But I'm going to think they're going to just play well enough to contain Diggs and company. This is a very critical game for Detroit. Minnesota can afford to lose this one, but Detroit really can't at this point, not with Green Bay sitting at 5-1 right now. Detroit is at home. I do like them to get this job done at home. I'm taking Detroit at home. Next game. I'm going to take Green Bay at home over the Oakland Raiders right now. I mean, Green Bay has been a formidable home team since last season, 8-3-1 at home since 2018. Winning last week, a good effort against the Detroit Lions. It was without their 2 best receivers. You look at Oakland right now, 3-2. They've certainly superseded expectations. 9 defensive sacks this year. Now, I know that's nothing to write home about, but they're on pace for a lot more than they had last season. If I'm not mistaken, last season they only had like 11 defensive sacks on the whole season. They already got 9. The pass rush has improved, but Oakland is still not a very good road team. Just 2-8 on the road since last season. But they are improved overall, and Green Bay did play a really tough game against Detroit last week, and Oakland now going on the road into Green Bay. Oakland might make it competitive, but I don't see them winning this one. I like Green Bay at home. Next game, I'm going to take the Houston Texans on the road to defeat the Indianapolis Colts. Houston. Right now, I mean, they've scored, they are scoring in bunches. They've scored 84 points in the last 2 games, defeating a very good Kansas City Chiefs team last week. They're a very versatile quarterback right now, and you look at this team with Houston right now. They are a team. Right now, they're averaging 27 points per game. Indy's averaging about 23, and the running game's about the same. But Houston, I just like the way they're trending a little bit better than Indy right now. Indy also has lost 3 of their last 4 games at Indianapolis to the Texans, surprisingly. I do like Houston to get this one done on the road, and the Houston Texans now, I mean, they have also 10 forced fumbles right now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I hope it's not 0, but actually take the forced fumbles out of there because I really don't remember how many they actually have. But Houston right now is a team to strongly be reckoned with because they are really playing very good, especially on the offensive end right now. So I'm going to go with Houston to get this one done on the road. It'll be a close game being in Indianapolis, but I still like them to win on the road. Now the next game, I'm going to take the New York Giants to win at home over the Arizona Cardinals. Now, Arizona's got some swagger. I know they've won 2 consecutive games, but they're just 3-7 on the road since 2018. And the Giants right now, the last week was obviously the offense could not get together, but they went up against a very good Patriots pass defense, one of the better pass defenses in the NFL. The quarterback for the Giants, Daniel Jones, has completed close to 61% of his passes on the season. I believe he can complete that percentage, if not better, in this game against an Arizona defense, pass defense that really is just very deplorable. Now, looking at this as well, I mean, the Giants had 213 yards passing, but 3 interceptions last week. And this week, they should be able to get at least close to 300 yards passing against Arizona. Hopefully, no interceptions against the Cardinals. The Cardinals right now have 0 defensive interceptions. I think the Giants could win this turnover battle in this game and win this game. I do like the Giants to get this done at home. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the San Francisco 49ers on the road to beat Washington. I mean, San Francisco right now, I mean, any of the cynics out there, including myself, maybe that didn't think that the 49ers could sustain this level of play throughout the whole season have been proven wrong. They're flawless 5-0 right now, plus 83 in point differential, and number 2 in time of possession. The Redskins are number 31 in time of possession. They barely got by Miami last week. That was their only win they have this season. They're just averaging 15 points per game, and San Francisco is one of the better offenses right now in the NFL. It seems to be very tough for teams to formulate a defense to combat the 49ers offense at this point. And the thing about this is the Washington Redskins are just a struggling team right now, and really a team in disarray. I like for the Washington Redskins have scored only 42 points in the last 4 games they've played. That's like 10.5 points per game average over that 4-game period. I like the 49ers and their offense to get this done on the road. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the LA Chargers on the road to defeat the Tennessee Titans. Now, the Chargers are surprisingly, for whatever inexplicable reason this could be, I mean, the Chargers have lost 4 or 5 games. They've only averaged 15 points per game over the last 2. You look at the Titans right now, they're a very enigmatic team, and and it's not even just they're enigmatic, they just have not looked good at all. The last 2 games, like 7 points combined. They have been sacked like 29 times this season. The offensive line is just not giving their quarterbacks the protection that it needs at this point in time. If the Chargers just have a decent pass rush in this game, they should be able to get this done. I mean, neither one of these teams have looked overly impressive in recent time, but I think the Chargers just look a little bit better. They have a little greater propensity to put points up on the board. So I'm going to take the Chargers to get this one done on the road. Now, here's going to be a good, compelling matchup coming up. Chicago's going to be at home against the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to take Chicago to get this done at home in this game. Arrested, they're 8-2 at home since last season. They've only allowed 4 passing touchdowns this season. Now, the thing about Chicago right now, you look at them, their scoring defense, number 3 in the NFL. Now, I understand the Saints and Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, they're 4-0 in that time since he started for the team. And their defense has been phenomenal. Over the last 3 games, they've only allowed like 13.3 points per game during that time, but they have to go on a road into a little different climate. They're not in their dome. They're going to be playing Chicago. It should be, I don't know what the exact conditions are going to be, but should be fairly cool. I think all this is auspicious for the Bears in this particular game, and especially with Green Bay playing as well as they have. They know this is so critical for them, and I do see them getting this one home. I like the Bears to win at home. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks to win at home over the Baltimore Ravens. This should be a really good game. I mean, you look at Seattle right now, 8-3 at home since last season, 25 plus points per game in 4 consecutive games. They're number 3 in red zone completion as far as red zone touchdown percentage right now. When they get in that red zone, they really can capitalize on it. Russell Wilson, there's a lot of people debating and talking about him being a possible MVP candidate. They're playing lights out right now overall, the Seattle Seahawks. And now Baltimore, they might not have that ravenous defense they've had in previous years, but they're still a very good team. It's going to come down to whether Seattle can contain the Baltimore running game. And you look at for the Ravens, the quarterback Lamar Jackson right now, I mean, he is among the leaders in rushing yards in the NFL. I believe he's like number 8 in rushing yards in the NFL, and he is a quarterback, a very versatile quarterback, of course. And might be tough to contain him. The Ravens right now are also number 1 in total offense, and they haven't been a bad road team since last season. 6-5 on the road since 2018. Should be a tight battle, but I like Seattle and the offense and the legs of Russell Wilson to get this done. A little bit more experienced quarterback, I'd say, with Russell Wilson compared to Lamar Jackson. So I'm going to go with Seattle to get this one, and also being at home, get this one done at home. I like Seattle to win at home. Next game, I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys to win at home over the Philadelphia Eagles. The Dallas Cowboys, this is a team battle right now. I mean, for NFC East supremacy, they're both 3-3. Dallas has won 3 straight against Philadelphia. You have the coach of the Eagles making his kind of bold proclamation that they're going to go in and beat Dallas. You really don't want to give the Cowboys much ammo, especially after, I'm sure they're pretty incensed after losing to the Jets in that game last week. Dallas right now is still number 2 in total offense. They do have Ezekiel Elliott. The Philadelphia Eagles have an outstanding run defense, but I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to penetrate the run defense just enough to get this job done at home. And Philadelphia has been an adequate, mediocre team on the road since 2018. 5-5 should be a good battle because Philadelphia did go into Green Bay and defeat Green Bay at Green Bay. They certainly got the potential to beat Dallas at Dallas, but I think right now Dallas is they're just from personal standpoint, they're just a little bit better than the Eagles, and they are at home. So I'm going to take Dallas to get this one done at home. Now, last but not least, in a game that might actually be a little more competitive than some anticipate, I'm going to take the New England Patriots on the road to defeat the New York Jets. Now, New England right now, on the road, right now, the New England is just playing lights out. I understand their competition hasn't exactly been that, really that daunting or that formidable, but they are 6-0. You are what your record is. They're averaging nearly 32 points per game. And they're asking Tom Brady about the offense right now. And the thing about it is, they talk about, him not having Gronkowski this season, but they still have Edelman. The offense is still clicking. They right now they've won 7 consecutive games against the Jets. They have simply dominated that series. They're also +9 turnover differential. They have they have like 25 defensive sacks on the season. They're leading the NFL, 14 defensive interceptions, where you have the offense getting all these accolades and all the attention. It's something where you have to look at the defense on New England. That is going to be very key in this game. The Jets, they had a good bounce back. They had a good game last week. It was the only really good game they've had all season, defeating the Dallas Cowboys, but they're still averaging about 13 points per game. The Jets right now, if I'm not mistaken, they got their first receiving touchdowns last week. I don't think they had any prior to last week, but the team is revived and rejuvenated. They have Sam Darnold back at quarterback. They're number 2 in terms of their right now. They got a good amount of yardage, like over 330 yards, I believe, last week, again, as far as passing yards against the Cowboys, but they're going to face a secondary. They're going to face a pass defense with the Patriots that are number 2 in the NFL, number 2 ranked pass defense in terms of yards allowed per game, and it really doesn't bode well for the New York Jets. The Jets are at home, and I understand earlier this season you had You had the Patriots beat the Jets by like 17 points or something. That was at New England. I mean, and considering it was playing the Jets, you would have thought the Patriots should have won by even more. So the Jets have that reason for hope, the fact that it's a divisional game, that they may be able to do something in this one. They might actually be able to make it close, but I just don't see them when that defense with New England is just too dominant right now. And when you have Tom Brady and you have Julian Edelman, you have enough weapons on the offensive end to get this done. I just don't see the Jets winning this game. So I'm going to take New England in a fairly competitive game, actually, to win this one on the road. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube NFL prediction segment. And until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.